Greetings, fellow collectors. The Curio Hunter here.
I'm Monster Truck Damon.
And tonight we are doing another, I'm going to call it an unboxing, but we're going to open some packs from 2022 Historic Autographs, The Gilded Age. We've got 6 packs with 10 cards apiece. And just something that I will note, the approximate odds. You get a cut signature in every 325. A shipwreck, relic, redemption card in every 480 packs.
I'm excited for that.
Right. I mean, hopefully. I think
shipwreck relic.
Maybe the Edmund Fitzgerald. I think I've seen from this one. You can get a historic DNA hair card in every 320. They also have other things like 1 out of 1 art sketch cards, all kinds of things. So we're going to do some card openings and see what we get. So might as well get into it. Need that or not?
Well, do it the traditional way.
Alright. Alright, the first one I have is number 6, Mary Walker.
Alright, so I have number 10. This is Amelia Elizabeth Dyer B. Hobley, the Ogress of Reading. She was a British serial killer. Murdered hundreds of babies in her care.
Ooh. Not very nice.
Not a good character of history.
Next, I have 178, Frederick Remington. I'll get this dialed in. There we go.
Alright, I've got 215, and it's the Iron Bowl. Looks to be a football game. Looked like late 1800s is what I saw. 1893, Auburn and Alabama.
Nice. That was probably the, I'm guessing, leather helmet era. Is that what it looks like in the picture? Era. Oh my goodness.
True pigskin.
Alright, next up I've got Montgomery Ward.
So this one is interesting. This is card number 92. It's standard time zones, and it talks about how in the late 1800s, it appears that the railroads were the ones to start beginning, like at noon on a certain day in the late 1800s, they all agreed to set to a time zone.
Interesting. Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess I never stopped to think of how that came about.
I know.
We'll probably do, that'll probably be one of those things that I do a 2 to 3 minute history lesson on then.
Yeah.
All right, my next one is Elizabeth Cady Stanton.
Okay. This is card number 18, Stanford White. Looks like we might be frozen.
Oh no.
Oh, there we are. Alright.
Alright, my next one is Lydia Moss Bradley.
I've got card number 51, Thomas Eakins from Philadelphia, painter, sculptor, maybe an architect, I think, perhaps. Damon, get a grip. Yeah.
Alright, so the next one I've got is a special. This one is a one-of-a-kind. So this is the magenta printing plate used to make this card. So, and I don't know much about it, but essentially when they're printing off the cards, they got yellow, blue, and magenta. All have the picture on there, and then when they run it through, that's what puts the ink on the card. And so then a lot of card companies at the end of their run will sneak the printing plates in as well, and that's kind of neat. So this way you get to see what a card printing plate looks like, and I find that kind of cool.
I'm gonna take a picture of that.
All right.
Curio. I like that. That was very interesting.
Card pack didn't say anything about that on it. So.
Yeah, no. We give you the printing plate too. All right, well, I got Arms and Hammer. It's card number 127. And, like baking soda, and recipes, things of that nature. Things like that remind me of my mom. She always had old things like Arm and Hammer stuff decorating our kitchen when I was a kid. And
well, I find it kind of interesting. And a lot of times these old or older like ingredients and stuff would come out with like cookbooks or recipes or ways to use their products. So like, you wouldn't think of it or whatever, but like, maybe you would think of it, but like, we'll say Campbell's soup or whatever, and then they'd come out with like all these recipes where you could use their tomato soup in or whatever, and like little hacks and shortcuts and adding it to stew, not just soups, but adding it to other things and stuff. So that's what that puts me in mind of when I see something like that.
Absolutely.
All right, next one I've got is Heinrich Hertz.
All right. I have got Emma Lazarus, not Lazarette, Jewish poet. There we go. And that was card number 100.
All right. Next, I've got Charles Guiteau. I believe he assassinated one of our presidents. Let's see if it says President Garfield.
So I have card number 49. It's Louis Comfort Tiffany, and we're talking about Tiffany glass.
Okay.
That. So that's still something you hear brought up in culture quite a bit. It's card number 49.
So this is from the Gilded Age, and I think I'll have to double check, but I think the Gilded Age was roughly like 1877 to 1900, something like that. And so it's interesting to hear about some of these companies that are so old, that are still around and stuff. That at least interesting to me. My next one I have is Edwin Klebs. And I'm definitely going to have to do some more research because there's a lot of people that I've not heard of before in this set.
Yeah, here's one that I am not familiar with at all, the Dreyfus Affair. I might not even be saying that right, but that's Dreyfus. Looks like maybe a political moment, perhaps kind of violent, maybe an uprising of some sort.
Last one I have in the first pack is the 400.
So I have 245 as my next card. And this one, talk about what's still culturally relevant. One of the best known marathons. I have the Boston Marathon. It looks like it began in 1897. Curio, I got to go to France a few years ago, and I went with a friend who had hosted a French international student, and we actually got to meet up with them in France. And he asked me, in case you haven't put together, both Curio and I are from America, and so he asked me, he's like, what do you think about our country, given that yours is so young? And I had never thought about it in that context. I mean, perhaps I'm a simpleton and hadn't thought about it, but we're talking about how some of these things, from the Gilded Age, are still, relevant. And when you think about it in the grand scheme of human history, we are not far out from that at all. In fact, I was talking with my parents tonight that when you think about the advent of something as simple as air conditioning, people 1,000 years from now will look back at us and think we were part of the first wave, as opposed to we think like, oh, well, generations before us had that. It's like we're going to get this kind of lumped into the first group of people to experience some of the stuff from the Gilded Age.
It's electricity and running water,
and
stuff, and it's just amazing the comforts that we have that, not even 50 years ago. I mean, like, we're talking indoor plumbing and everything, all these things.
But a lot of things that we have today came from the age we're, talking about. And so, it's almost kind of makes it more meaniful in a sense.
Right, yeah, I agree. Well, shall we get to the next
pack?
See where we're just a third of the way in, folks.
Oh, I have the scissors.
You've got the magic opening tool. All right, come on. DNA, hair card, cut, autograph.
Yeah, I really want a hair card.
That'd be nice to pull one of those. Do you want to go first?
Sure. So I've got card number 60. It's Candace Wheeler, who is an artist known for textile work.
Ulysses S. Grant.
Hey, I like that guy.
Yeah, me too.
In fact, my father and I, just out on tour, went to Appomattox Courthouse in December last year, played in Roanoke, Virginia. Yeah. Hey, another great one that you hear brought up a lot today, Helen Keller, card number 147, rather inspirational person.
Adlai E. Stevenson.
We've got the Excelsior Diamond.
Electrocardiogram.
It's ironic. This next card, card 198, is called Feeding Time at the Garden, and I actually just saw an Instagram reel about this very thing. Maybe not at the garden, but where wealthy people would go out at a certain time of day and throw crumbs and pieces of food to the peasants in the community. And so Feeding Time at the Garden was one of those.
Interesting.
And again, weird to think about that we're not far out from those times. And of course, unfortunately, things like that still exist in certain places, but not as rampant as perhaps yesterday.
Right. I mean, it's one of those things where it's still needed. People need food, and food insecurity is definitely a thing. It's just we've definitely gotten to where we can give people
dignity.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Next up is Eiffel Tower. Kind of a cool one. I don't know if it's just like the glossy sheen or what, but that one looks. I don't know. It looks nice.
I like that. Here's somewhat of a hero in the music realm, depending on how you think of him. Card number 61, Thomas Edison, invented the phonograph. Part of the reason we have recorded music today. So thank you, Thomas Edison. If only you'd known what Spotify had done to us all.
Moses Fleetwood Walker.
He founded Fleetwood Mac.
Making that up? Because I think he was a Major League Baseball player.
All right. I have Nellie Bly, which was the pen name of investigative journalist Elizabeth Jane Cochran. So, there you go.
Edward Bellamy. Oh, that's a mustache right there.
It sure is. Paul McCartney has a song called Mr. Bellamy, and I wonder if perhaps that is what that is a reference to. I really don't know.
Don't
You
know.
here's another one. I know I keep going back to the same topic, but how really, in the grand scheme, we're not far out from the advent of inventions like these. That's the McCormick's Harvester. And, you see a lot of McCormick stuff up when you go to Chicago. But that kind of changed everything for farmers. You didn't have a harvesting machine, obviously.
Home insurance building. And we're from a farming community, so I mean, it's not uncommon for us to see all sorts of farming implements and stuff like that. And I mean, there's been a lot of advancements in a short amount of time. And I think, like being able to feed people, like that's something that's constantly on people's minds and stuff. I mean, like because civilizations throughout history, I think, expanded to where they got to like their maximum amount of food usage type of deal, and then like that's sort of where you cut off because you can't have a bigger population if you can't feed them and stuff. And so it's, I don't know, kind of interesting though, some of these inventions.
Absolutely, and you don't think about how dependent or independent certain countries are on their food supply, depending on whatever their agriculture is and whatever their soil and land permits for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of European countries don't have complete independence on their food supplies, but here in America,
Right.
I'm not saying that we're completely independent, but we have such a vast amount of terrain to grow different things and almost different microclimates within our very
Right.
large country.
Well,
you
and
know.
I will say, as a home gardener, you know, like sometimes in the wintertime, I'm thinking, you know, if I lived farther south, I could grow different things, grow
Mhm.
things year round and stuff, and I'm sure better gardeners could grow more food in the winter, but it's just like it's rough, you know. It's a hard time to grow much more than a real hardy greens and stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know. And there's a lot more farther north of us, you know, that they're dealing with that and even tougher
Harsher
conditions. Yeah.
Yes.
That, you know, it's like I guess nowadays, because of inventions like that, we've got that
Exactly.
ability to live in places where, you know, we're not having to eat everything that we're not having to grow everything that we eat.
And not only is
You
it
know.
independence for, you know, our food supply, but it allows us to think of other things and people to have different jobs other than just agricultural, because we're not struggling to just feed our own
Right.
people all the time. So, you know, again, just in 150 years worth of time, roughly, you know, how amazing is it,
Mhm.
you know? All right, well, I got Marshall Fields, which I don't know anything about. It's a department store. I assume this is probably where Marshalls came from. Oh, it was renamed Macy's. Okay, how about
Okay.
that?
There you go.
There we are.
All right, Frederick Douglass.
All right, this is the 400. Card number 74. It's about the 400. I believe it was a wealthy elite people in New York, from what I could make out of the back of the card.
All right, I've got the Jim Crow laws. What, yeah.
All right, the California Charles Crocker Mansion. A big name in the railroad industry. Built that fine home.
All right, and this is another Amelia Elizabeth Dyer B. Hobley, the Ogress of Reading. But this one's got it's shiny.
Oh,
So I got to show off the shininess, but doggone it, like this is one of the worst
yeah.
people we've got.
Yeah,
so
we've got to
far.
meet her twice. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
here.
Yeah.
Well, here's what.
Compare the
Yeah, one's matte,
shiny
one's
one.
shiny. So
and the shiny one. I mean, it's one of 149, so they've got a limited
Oh,
of the shiny.
limited
ones.
shine.
All right,
After you.
last pack magic. Still on the search for
Shipwreck.
shipwreck, autograph, hair, and you name it, any of those relics. All right, I'll kick it off with Edward Murraybridge. I'm sure I butchered that name.
Oh, hey, I've got a fun one. I grew up watching stories about this woman on the Travel Channel. I'm gonna take a guess. Make sure my memory is good. Lizzie Borden, known for potentially murdering her family with an axe, and supposedly still haunts the residents of that. Yep, the axe murders of
There
her
you
father
go.
and stepmother in 1892. The jury deliberated only 90 minutes. Yep, Borden died of pneumonia following gallbladder surgery. Good times. Good times.
And was that
Oh, we
like
got a shiny card.
Shiny
Yeah,
card as
yeah.
well. So that one. Why are all the serial killers?
All the women
the
serial
ones that are
killers.
one of 149. So.
How about that?
All right, my next one is Charles Chestnut. All right.
So, an infamous date that we celebrate every year, and instead of a day anymore, it gets a whole month. But Black Friday, it looks like it came about in the late 1860s by people trying to kind of corner in on the gold market. Did not know.
Octavius Cato.
we got Beatrix Potter. Tale of Peter Rabbit.
Another Lizzie Borden. This one not so shiny.
The Henry Hobson's Richardson, an American architect.
Philip Danforth Armour.
What did he do?
Founded Armory Company, meat packing company.
Okay. Well, I got a pretty self-explanatory one. The Wall Street Journal, something that we still use today. Well, yeah, I mean, not everyone uses it, but some people do. So it's amazing.
John Singer Sargent.
Not to be confused with John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Some of these names not that hard to pronounce.
Here's a good one. We got Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy. Great writer.
I don't know how many of these are in the base set, but we're starting to get some repeats. We got Charles Guiteau again.
Anton Chekhov wrote plays. Russian dude. Yeah, something like that.
So, I've got Pearl Harbor, and I was wondering to myself, like, you know, the attack on Pearl Harbor didn't take place until 1941, so it's like, what's that doing in the Gilded Age?
But is it the base?
So evidently, in like 1875, the U.S. acquired Pearl Harbor from the Hawaiian Kingdom with the signing of a treaty. So that's the connection to the Gilded Age.
So it's not the event Pearl Harbor.
Right,
it's actually
it's the place was acquired in the Gilded Age. Interesting.
I'm not familiar with this one, but Good Housekeeping, the magazine.
I've heard of that one.
You subscribe?
I don't think it's. I don't know if it's in print anymore or not.
Turned into a zine.
But my wife is a fan of. What? Oh, I didn't even read what this one. I'm just throwing it out there. Gussie Lord Davis. It's my next to last card. And hopefully the video unfreezes.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Card number 39, Gandhi Dancers and Traqueros. I probably butchered the last word, but Gandhi apparently is a reference to the roughly 5-foot pole that railroad workers would use to, help lay railroad ties, I guess. So they called it Gandhi dancing, kind of a slang term for people that did that job at that time. But thank God they did, because they connected the whole country. And apparently led to time zones.
Right. All right, the last one I've got is Billy the Kid, and this one is a shiny one. It's 22 out of 25, so it's numbered, which has got to mean something. It's got to be good, right?
Yeah.
But Billy the Kid.
Well, I kind of intentionally saved this one for last. Not that it's a big find in terms of rarity, but we both love music, and I know that both of us have had marching band in our background. So John Philip Sousa, we both played pieces by him before, known for his marches. If you've entered a room with pizzazz, you've probably done it to one of his songs.
And I played the sousaphone, so we're all in it. Yeah. All right, well that is it for the Historic Autograph 2022 Gilded Age. I hope you've enjoyed it and found this interesting. And so I'll go back through some of these and we'll do some individual history lessons on that. But I want to thank Monster Truck Damon for joining me this evening.
Thank you, Curio.
You had mentioned earlier that you liked history. And
yes,
so
sir.
This actually works out very well. I enjoy doing these unboxings with special guests. So thank you again.
Thanks for having me on, Curio.
All right. And so with that, I think we'll end this one. And we'll catch you next time.
Happy collecting.
Yeah, right.